Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Free Advice Friday. My name is Carrie Barnum for New Shelves Books, and we are here to talk about the business of being an author, publishing, marketing, the whole shebang. If you would like to join us live, you are always welcome on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern at newshelves.com/FAF. Of course, if you are watching our replays over on YouTube, you can email in questions if you can't join us live. That email is simply info, at newshelves.com. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. One of the first questions that we had today was about Facebook and the Facebook capabilities. Jane was noting that she has a Facebook business page for her author persona and business, but she doesn't think she's quite using it as much as she could to the full extent. So I find many authors or businesses, I've worked with businesses too, aren't actually utilizing all of the capabilities that are offered on the business page for Facebook. So there's a couple just things I'll highlight. Now, I will say this is not a full extensive list. You can go in, start playing around, and it's always updating. I will say Facebook has done a lot of updates lately. So you will find different things that it allows you to do if you really go in, but I'll highlight a few of those. One of the things that I really enjoy on the business page is when you go to post on the business page, there's something that says schedule using Made a Business Suite. So if you click on this, it's a little highlight. It says Made a Business Suite. When you click on it, it opens up a new screen because they like to confuse us. Remember, all of these capabilities come with a little bit of a learning curve, and that's why most people don't use them. But so we click on it, it'll open up something called the Made a Business Suite. And in the Made a Business Suite, you can schedule out posts on both Facebook and Instagram. So you can link them and have the same post go out to each place, or you can do separate posts. You can do one post and then do like different hashtags and things. It's really kind of fabulous because when you do that, it makes it so that you can batch your social media content. So one of the things I hear the most about authors using their business pages and things is that they get inspired one day and they'll post to social media and then they're kind of tired of it and they stop posting and then they're not very consistent. Well, batching your content, finding different things that you can do, different content that you can post, allows you to do that a little bit better. Let me share my screen. Let me show you. Let's not add to the confusion. Let me just go right in. So I am in here right now. I am in my business page for New Shelves. And you can see this is where I would usually post a post. Well, if I click here, you can see here, schedule your post from Made a Business Suite. If I click on this, it's going to open up a new page and a new interface. And like I said, there is a bit of a learning curve here. But what is so nice about this is it gives me a whole planner and scheduler. It'll show me what I've already posted. It will also show what I have coming up, if I have anything scheduled, and so on and so forth. So some of you might already be using something like Hootsuite, which is fine. But if you're only on Facebook and Instagram, don't pay for Hootsuite. Do the free option here because you'll save yourself a couple $100 a year and it's already built in and it plays better through Made a Business Suite than if it's a third party. But anyway, neither here nor there. You can create a reel or you can create a post. So I can create a post. It's going to run a little slow because that's how it does. So I have the New Shelves Facebook page connected to the New Shelves Instagram because we want to work smarter, not harder. So here I can add a photo and I can, take something and upload a photo, which of course, if I'm posting to Instagram, I need some type of visual. I can add a video. There's templates that they have. Like there's all different sorts of things that you can use. And I'm not going to let this whole template load because it's going to take a while. Discard. All right. But I could just post a very simple post like, let's see. I could post something super basic like, hi, everyone. I could type it right even. There we go. All right. And then I could just post this and I can publish it right away or I can schedule it, which is just fantastic. Look, my cursor's not working for me because I decided to go live. They were like, okay, well, let's make it difficult here. There we go. So I can schedule it and set the date and time. I can set different times for Facebook and Instagram. So you guys know I'm a big fan of using the same content, but sometimes posting it on different days. So I could have this post here on Facebook right now, and I could post to Instagram next week, therefore kind of making it so things are different. It'll also show you your active times. So it'll tell you when your audience is most likely to respond to your different posts, which is a good thing because you want to get out when people are responsive. We've all posted something and it was just bad timing. You get nothing and you're like, man, I thought that was super witty or a super good picture and nothing happens. Well, this kind of helps with that. You can also customize. So I can say, I want to do this post. And for Facebook, I just want to say, hi, everyone. On Instagram, I want to do, hi, everyone, hashtag hello. Obviously, not that hashtag. But so then I can do different hashtags just on my Instagram posts. And then, oh, look, I think it's just here. It doesn't like it gets stuck. Weird. Okay. And then we can, put it up on public or not. Now it's not letting me schedule right now because I've got errors as far as timing, and also there's no image for Instagram, but it would let me just schedule for Facebook or finish later. So this is a really handy tool to help you be consistent on your social media. This way, you do not have to go online every day and think of something to say. You can do download a bunch of videos or a bunch of memes or quotes from your book, and you can schedule them out for weeks or even months, so that way you kind of don't have to think about it. You can just get on and respond to social media. So that's a really nice thing to do. You can see all your notifications, your inbox, and different things here. You can also access your ads dashboard. I'm not going to click on my ads right now because I have multiple people's ad data in there, but you can see ads, you can see insights where it tells you about your page and how many people you're reaching, your followers, your click links, and look, and they are constantly updating here, but we can see how many posts we have, how many people we reached each week, and different things like that. So we can get an idea of what's working best for us. And then we can go into view all insights, and it'll give us more information about link clicks and all of that good stuff. So I will say this is a tool and it's wonderful and it can make your life easier with scheduling, but I will also add a caveat that it can be a rabbit hole and you can go in here and end up looking in all sorts of information, which you don't necessarily want to do. You don't necessarily want to be on here forever and ever. So use it as scheduling. If you're looking for data or to see if you're growing, use it that way, but don't go down that rabbit hole. The other thing that I will say as far as Facebook goes, not only scheduling, but I will also say that one of the things on Facebook, and people gripe about this all the time, is that if you're not paying, you're not getting seen. And I will say that's largely true, especially on a business account. Here's the thing, is on a business account, you will reach people if you just post. However, Facebook earns money on your ads. So if you're boosting posts, if you're running ads, that is how you reach more people and reach more people consistently. The other thing is interaction, is that Facebook algorithm feeds on interaction. So if you're not paying for an ad, even if you're not paying for an ad, but you're getting a lot of interaction, you are, when you're getting a lot of interaction, people are commenting, even if people are angry. Sometimes someone told me recently they have a Facebook post up and they were getting a lot of controversial feedback. Now, it was on the topic of their book. So this is not like someone talking about politics and I'm saying, all right, step away. No, they were actually getting a lot of controversial feedback about their book and their memoir. And I said, hey, you're getting a lot of comments. They are literally, even though not everyone's being nice and there are some things that you should absolutely block or hide, all of that interaction is actually showing the Amazon algorithm that your post is interesting and they're showing it to more people for free. So all of those people who are commenting and kind of being kind of nasty, or who are just throwing in their 2 cents when you didn't ask for it, are helping you reach more people. So let it go. And so that's important to realize too, that the interaction matters, not only interaction from other people, if people are commenting on your post or different things like that, but you're interacting with them. So it is not enough simply to schedule out posts. And this is the I don't want to say issue, but this is the thing with social media companies. Social media companies will charge you hundreds to thousands of dollars a month to post content. So essentially to go search out memes and articles and things and then schedule it on your page, which keeps your page active. You're again capable of doing that. But if you want to pay someone to do that because you don't have the time or whatever it is, fine. But if you are not also getting on and responding to people when they're commenting on stuff, if you are not interacting, that stuff's not going to do you much good. So it's really important that even if you batch and schedule your content, or if you pay for someone else to schedule your content, it is so important that you get on social media 5-10 minutes a day, you respond to any comments, and you interact with people, and also put your personality in it. I can say I have seen social media where there's such basic graphics and there are things that aren't personalized. There's no personal stories and they don't get a lot of attention, versus people who do tell real stories. They are interactive, they are exciting, they are sharing pieces of who they are with their audience, and it'll get a lot more interaction. So the scheduling feature is awesome. The other thing, because a lot of people do not get interaction on Facebook, what has become very popular is to start a group. So it can be a group for your readers and different things like that. But this is a group that you have to monitor and run. So it is work for you. And you can pay someone to manage it for you. But again, you're going to be paying hundreds, if not thousands per month for that. So just keep that in mind. Or you have a friend or, a sibling or a spouse who does it. But that group, what's nice about it is when someone posts in a group, if they're active in that group, again, it's all about interaction algorithm, then they see more of those posts. So a lot of authors have started running groups for their readers or super fans or different things like that, because when they do so, people see their posts more often. That doesn't mean they don't post on their main pages, but it means they post on their main pages some, and then they do most of their posting. They just replicate it over in their groups and they do more interaction and more posts there. And that means people will see your content a lot more and it won't cost you anything. So these are not finding new readers necessarily, but it is a great way to kind of keep the readership you have. Again, just know it is something you have to keep up with. If you don't post, that group kind of just dies a slow death. I know from experience that if you are not active on a group, or if you're not putting content out there, or if you're not inviting questions and conversation, you can't be the only one speaking. Other people have to interact. So it can be a beautiful tool, but make sure you're ready to commit to that tool, or else it doesn't do you much good. The third thing I will highlight on Facebook is simply advertising on Facebook. You guys know one of the reasons I say when people say, well, I don't want to be on Facebook all day. Great. You don't have to be. You can minimally use Facebook, but have it for the ad capabilities, because yes, while you have to pay for it, you can run ads on Facebook for anywhere from $1 to $5 a day and reach hundreds to thousands of readers. And I have some authors who, when running those ads, they actually outperform Amazon ads. I have authors who will triple their income based on Facebook ads. So I do think, especially if your reader demographic tends to be 40 or above, Facebook is a really great place to be on for advertising. So that's worth exploring. Now, you can certainly lose a lot of money on Facebook ads if you don't know what you're doing. So make sure you do have a strong idea, or get help, or reach out to New Shelf so we can chat about your ads. But it is a market that a lot of people who don't like social media will avoid Facebook and Facebook ads, but it's a great market for your ads. And then people who are maybe a little bit younger are like, ew, Facebook. And so they won't want to use it, which is fine if your demographic's not on there. But I will say that for $1 or $2 a day, if you can increase your readership, that can be a great return on investment. So it's worth exploring, in my opinion. Let's see. Nicole, do you know if your participation in other people's groups reflects on your business account? Not usually, Nicole. So it's also important to note that when setting up a group, people can set it so that pages can join, or they can make it so only accounts can join. So when you are going in, um, when you're going into a group, sometimes it'll say you can't join your group with that. You can't join with your business page. You have to join with your personal page. And when you're setting up your group, the same thing. And the reason why some people will not allow people to join with a business page is because you get a lot more spam than when you're doing individual people. So it's important to know that if you are in a group that allows business pages, as far as how it affects you, I will say, Facebook is constantly gathering data. So when you are constantly in a writer's group or in multiple writers groups and you are responding to writer comments and things, you'll probably get more ads about books and authory things, but it doesn't necessarily help your page or your group. Because it's not specifically in there and you're not interacting with your audience, you're interacting with other readers, or I'm sorry, with other authors and things. So that doesn't necessarily reflect on you. It will reflect on you within that group, but if it's not your group, it doesn't necessarily help you. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Yes, the scheduling place, Vicky, when you do it, is when you click on to leave a comment or anything. I'm sorry, when you start a post in your business, at the bottom of that screen that pops up that says create post, there is a little calendar and grayed out. It says schedule your post from Meta Business Suite. And Meta Business Suite is highlighted in blue. You click on that, and that's what will open the business suite, which will allow you to schedule and post out for future posts. And again, it's really convenient. I'm in a lot of accounts, not only my own and New Shelves, but I'm also in accounts for authors, some authors who get a lot of engagement, some who don't. So it is very helpful to use that business suite sometimes because it allows you just to schedule out, but also to see everything at a glance. It's a learning curve. It looks different than Facebook, but I promise that if you get it, it's a handy tool. And if you're scheduling out, let's just say 2 months at a time with general quotes or graphics or reader questions about, what's a good book you've read, or I just finished this series. What would you recommend? Those questions that aren't necessarily book focused, but are engagement focused. If you schedule those out for a month or two, then hey, 6 times a year, you have to get on there and schedule. Otherwise, you can limit your Facebook activity to 5 to 10 minutes a day just for interaction, which makes it a lot more doable. And it makes it a lot more, just makes it easier. I think that's what I'm trying to get at, is that if you know that social media, or Facebook in particular, is your nemesis, if it's the thing you don't like to do, but you feel like you should, using the scheduling features is a way to help you do that and batch it. And it's like, all right, I'm going to set up 2 hours. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to schedule everything out, and then I can forget about it until, the next month and a half or 2 months. And so for many authors, they can discipline themselves to get it done in 2 hours, but they don't necessarily get excited about doing it every day, and that's okay. Hopefully those couple of tips kind of help you explore and utilize Facebook more to its advantage without sinking all of your writing time into using it. The other question we had was from Kate, and Kate's question was about upload services. So Kate has a project that she's been working on for uploads. It's ready to go. It's ready to be uploaded into her accounts, but she doesn't have the time or the energy to upload all of her posts. So if you are looking for someone to upload your book specifically, many people will do that within a larger program. So for example, New Shelves, when we're working with people on a larger marketing program or publishing consulting, then we will upload your book for you. We're not doing that just for uploading books. There are people who will do it, but be very careful because you are giving people the passwords and access to your Amazon and Ingram Spark accounts. So make sure that they're vetted. One of the places you might look is Reedsy, Reedsy. You might look for someone there because Reedsy does kind of vet people who are on their service list, and they do also intervene if there are problems within service. You might look there. And I will say it does take a little bit of learning, but it's not that hard. If you go to the New Shelves YouTube channel, we actually have upload videos step by step for uploading on both Ingram Spark and Amazon. So just depending if you find someone on Readsy or something that works for you, fantastic. But if not, or if you don't want to spend money, I've seen quotes for this kind of service just to upload to Amazon and Ingram Spark. I've seen quotes anywhere from $100 to $1,000 per title. So it just kind of depends on what all they're doing for you. But if you can't find someone, or if you simply don't have the budget to pay for someone to do that, then if you go to YouTube on the New Shelves channel, we have uploads for both Ingram Spark and KDP. And in addition to that, I do have a checklist for Ingram Spark that you can go and download. So before you go, this is one of the things, and this is one reason why we don't do one-off uploads for people who ask, is that if everything is not prepared when you go in to do it, what should only take, an hour to get done could take days if someone doesn't have, their description, or if their files aren't correct, or different things like that. So that is one of the reasons why we don't do it, just because it can end up, what you think will take an hour will take, 10 hours in 5 weeks. But getting everything kind of done and knowing that you have all of your files, your description, and everything in advance is one of the things that I will say will make everyone's life easy. So if you go to newshelves.com/IS for Ingram Spark checklist, I do have kind of a checklist of all the things you need to upload your book. And so whether you're doing it yourself or you're having someone help you, I highly recommend you go look at that. Make sure you have all the pieces so that your frustration level will be lower. It'll be done quicker and hopefully with less hassle. Oh, wonderful, Ursula. And like I said, there's a lot of, I tried to do how-tos on the YouTube channel. So there is how to upload to KDP, how to upload to Ingram Spark, how to create a series page on KDP, a lot of different things. And if you don't see a how-to or a tutorial in there that you'd like to see, email me and let me know, info@newshelves.com. And if I can, I will create one of those and put it up. I like to use it as a resource for authors who are very motivated to do things for themselves, but maybe just need a little bit of a how-to or an example of how it's done to make it easy. So I'm happy to do that if I can. Let's see, Nicole has a question going back to Facebook. Do you see that your posts sometimes fail when scheduled? I have some that just never post, or for some reason my Facebook caption will post on Instagram instead. I have seen that, Nicole. So sometimes a post will fail either because the accounts didn't became unconnected. Usually that's because there was either a question of online activity or the password was changed. So you have to update that reconnection if you change the password or anything. And occasionally the system does just glitch. I've seen that before. I will say it's not often, but I have seen it before, in which case I usually just go in and fix it, and it's not usually a big deal. But occasionally it's technology and it's a beautiful, wonderful thing, but it is not fail proof. So occasionally you'll see that. But I haven't seen it happen so often that I wouldn't recommend using it. I've seen it, occasionally. So do with that what you will. What do you think of June for a book publishing month? My editor is way behind my months, was going to do March, but now June. Oh, my friend, welcome to the world of publishing where everything gets pushed out. It is so funny because I was talking to a couple of other people and they're like, yeah, well, my book is scheduled to come out this date, but knowing my publisher, it'll come out, 3 to 6 months later. And it's so true. There are just so many moving pieces to publishing a book, from, getting it edited and proofread and layout and cover, and timelines change. And, maybe something was supposed to be delivered at this time and someone got sick, because we're working with so many, not large companies that, if your editing doesn't get it done, I can just step in and do it. I can't. I'm not qualified. And so many times in publishing, one of the things we run into is that if something happens, if someone gets sick or there's, a bereavement or something like that, it can't just be moved to someone else to be done. It has to wait for that person to come back. And so there are oftentimes in publishing where things are delayed. And so I always say we set goal dates, but sometimes those goal dates change, or the realities change. And as far as June for a month, it really depends. But I will say that a May or June pub date for anything that's like a summer read. So things that are most commonly read in the summer is going to be romance, women's fiction, and thrillers are some of the top things that are read over the summer. And then also sometimes children's books can go up in the summer as well. So if you're in one of those three categories, I think you're fine. I think it's most important that you complete your project, you do it well, and you get it out when it's ready. I think that you can make any month a good pub month. A lot of people say January is a terrible month, and I just had a launch and it went beautifully. Not without a hiccup, but it did go very, very well. So I think you can have a good pub any month. Now there are some like things I wouldn't do personally, such as releasing a book in like November or December that wasn't holiday themed, but it can be done. And I think May or June for a pub month will be just fine. One of the things I saw that I just wanted to share with you all is we've been recommending Hidden Gems as a review program for a really long time. I love Hidden Gems. I think that that's one of those things is that Hidden Gems offers for the low price of $20, you can secure a spot for review feature. Now, sometimes you get a lot of reviews, sometimes you don't, and it's $20 to reserve. But with Hidden Gems, depending on how many readers accept and say they'll take your book, is how much you pay. Of course, we cannot demand reviews from readers, so it's not guaranteed, but they do follow up, and I've had great success with the, considering how much it costs for Hidden Gems. So Hidden Gems ARC or review service is something that we've recommended for a long time, and I was excited to see that they used to only focus on Amazon. They would ask for your Amazon, what am I trying to say? Your Amazon sales page, and that was it. And they would push readers and encourage readers to go and get reviews on Amazon only. But they have just now expanded that to now they will ask for your Goodreads, your Barnes and Noble. I think they may even do iBooks. So they're asking for other platforms, and they are encouraging readers to leave reviews everywhere, not just Amazon, but on other platforms as well. And I think that is just absolutely fantastic that they are doing that. And so if you, for example, are already signed up for a Hidden Gems review spot, I'm going to drop the link in here. It's just hiddengemsbooks.com, and it's their ARC program. But if you're already signed up for a ARC spot, because they do book way in advance, like they're booking through the end of the year right now. So grab your spot early. Sometimes they have openings and they'll push you up if you ask. But if you have already signed up, make sure you go back to Hidden Gems where you have your information and edit it to add your other platforms. Because if you don't add your other platforms, if you don't add the platforms for iBooks and Goodreads and stuff like that, they don't send people there. So if you've already got one scheduled, make sure you add those other platforms. And then if you're starting new and you haven't signed up for a Hidden Gems ARC yet, just know that it's fantastic that they are now encouraging reviews everywhere, not just Amazon, because while we know that it is important to get reviews on Amazon, it is also important to have reviews everywhere. That Amazon does have a large portion of sales. They have approximately, it's 87 to 91% of ebook sales in the US, UK, and Canada. I think it's Canada, US, UK for sure. And then they've got about 60% of sales for print books in the US and UK. So Amazon matters, but other platforms matter as well. Getting reviews on iBooks and Barnes and Noble and other places just helps give you a well-rounded platform. And if you're paying for a review service anyway, and they're going to leave a review on Amazon anyway, why not leave it on multiple places? because that's a beautiful thing. That's what I always say, just copy and paste everywhere. Oh, well, where? Everywhere, literally everywhere. Just, yeah, it's confetti, put it everywhere. Let's see. Does Hidden Gems only review art? So I have had a book signed up after it was published, Beth, and they did take it. I think they get the most response for new books. So maybe in the first year, I wouldn't do a book that had been out for years. But they have taken it. Just know that again, they schedule way, way out. So if you're looking for a book, make sure you schedule it. One of the questions they have when you reserve your spot is, are you willing to take an earlier day? And then they ask what date you're willing. So you could say, I'm willing to take an earlier day and put tomorrow on there. And if they get a cancellation last minute, anything like that, then sometimes they'll just slide you right on over and put you in that spot. I've had that happen multiple times, especially because, I mean, let's keep in mind that people are scheduling the service literally a year out, a year out. I'm not joking. So sometimes people are like, oh yeah, let me just grab a couple of spots and then they don't need them. Or, let me grab a spot for November 2024 and they realize, my book's not going to come out until February of 2025 and they need to move it. So that way that they will slide you up is very convenient. And they're usually willing to work with you as long as you talk to them well in advance. If you need to push your date out, they're usually pretty willing to do that. It's a nice staff over there and they're very helpful. Oh, how should I price an audiobook? I think we did actually talk about this, Larry, a couple weeks ago, but I'm not sure how much we went into it. So let's tackle that. An audiobook, when you do an audiobook and you upload it or create it in ACX or Findaway Voices, which are the two platforms I personally recommend that you use, they will give you suggested pricing and they give you suggested pricing based on the genre as well as the listen time. So if you're in, let's say, romance and your book is 5 hours long, they'll say, okay, we recommend, and I'm making up a number, this is not a real number. They'll say, all right, we recommend that you price your book at $8.20, but you can price your book within $7 and $27. So not only do they give you a recommended price, but they give you a limit within what you're allowed to price. Now, I will say that even if you are willing to go with the price that they suggest, I do not suggest doing a weird price like $8.20. That's just nonsense. I would recommend that you always put it to the next whole or 99 cents. So instead of $8.20, I would do $8.99 or $9. More likely 99, just because that's what we see most often, and that's what I'd go with. Um, but also keep in mind to look at your comps to see what other people are selling for with their audiobooks. But when you're looking at your comps, make sure that you're looking, who are they published with? Do they have a really big publisher? Are they indies? And then look at their pricing. And I would try to price in line with that. Barring looking at your comps, I would make sure that your audiobook is priced at least as much as your paperback is usually what I do. So if you have, let's say, an ebook for $4.99 and you have a paperback for $15.99, and when you go Findaway Voices gives you a suggested price of $12, but their range that you're allowed to price in is $10 to $20, then I would go for the same price as your paperback. Do it $15.99. I find that people who want audiobooks typically realize that they're going to pay about the same amount of paperback or have some type of subscription. Now, of course, there are discount opportunities through places like Chirp Books if you're not exclusive to Amazon and you're using Findaway Voices. And Chirp Books is the counterpart to BookBub, the audiobook counterpart. So there are ways to discount your book and to get it out there. But typically, I'm going to suggest that you price it right around your paperback, unless you have super long runtime and Findaway or what have you is suggesting that you price it higher. If they are suggesting you price it higher, I always recommend you go with their suggestion in that case. I just very rarely see it depending on the genre. I will say that nonfiction books tend to be higher on audiobook sometimes than paperback, because paperback nonfiction books sometimes are shorter. And so they're priced a little bit lower in paperback, but then an audiobook, which is where a lot of nonfiction readers are consuming their products. So actually, adult nonfiction was one of the fastest growing categories for audiobooks last year. And for the first time ever, I believe an audiobook category or format actually outpaced other types of sales through ebook and paperback. So it does depend a little bit on genre, but hopefully those tips give you kind of an idea of where to start and how to look. But do know that whatever platform you upload for distribution is going to make suggestions as well. And so that can be a good guideline. Yeah. All right. If anyone else has questions, let me know. I think we've answered them all from today. Some other things that I have seen. Um, I have seen lots of rumors about different things going around as far as Ingram Spark and if they're changing how they do things. As far as I know, if anyone has heard those rumors about Ingram Spark changing terms, Ingram Spark got it from the inside. They're not planning on changing anything. They did just add the way that you can do a direct sales link to your books. And I had planned to try that out this week so I could give you guys more information. I'm afraid this week was not my week and it did not happen, but I'll try for next week. Um, but as far as I know, they're still planning on doing Ingram Spark, no price to upload your book. It will cost to do revisions after that first 60-day period, as it has been, unless you're part of a group that has discount codes. Like I think IBPA does it for discount codes for revisions. They're still going to allow authors to select whether a book's returnable or not. They're still allowing a book for you to set your discount. Now, Ingram Spark a couple months back did change to where you have to, in certain marketplaces, offer at least a 40% discount in order to be listed with online retailers like Barnes and Noble and Amazon. But that's older. And I've heard some new rumors that Ingram Spark is going to start doing what Draft to Digital does, where they like set terms for you and you don't have a choice. And I've had that confirmed. That's not the case. So if you upload Draft to Digital for your print books, the way that works is you upload a Draft to Digital for your print books, and they automatically set your book at a 55% discount with no returns. And that's just their distribution. And then here's a little secret. If you use Draft to Digital, all they're doing is they're sending your print book files over to Ingram Spark to be printed and distributed. But a lot of people like the Draft to Digital platform, and so they think it's easier to use. Now, when you upload direct to Ingram Spark, when you upload your book, you can choose your discount within certain parameters between, again, 40 and 55%. You can set whether your book's returnable or not. You overall have more control. And then Ingram Spark, of course, then prints your book and sends it over to Ingram for distribution. Let's keep in mind that Ingram does keep 15% for their services. So if you set a 55% discount on Ingram Spark, Ingram takes 15% of that, and then the retailer, the bookstore, Barnes and Noble, ends up with a 40% discount at the end. I've had quite a few questions about that recently. I know we talk about it here on Free Advice Friday, but not everyone knows that Ingram Spark and Ingram are different companies and they all like to get paid. So that's how that works out. We have quite a few articles on the New Shelf's website. I call it POD math, and where we talk about, how everyone gets their cut and then how authors get paid, because that's, you write for the joy of it, but it's really nice when you get paid also. So let me actually see if I can find that. Sorry. I hate listening to other people crack their knuckles, and I just did it. Let's see. It's always nice to know how you're getting paid and how the math works out and what those discounts mean or don't mean. So I have this article called How Much Money Does an Author Make? And it breaks that down with POD math. And so that might be helpful. Connie's question, can you please discuss hybrid books? Which ones are the most reputable ones? Long story short, but I'm switching now. Here is the thing. Hybrid publishing companies, in many cases, are legitimate companies. The way it works is that a hybrid publisher will partner with an author, and the publisher is bringing their skill of knowing how to edit, how to publish, how to source covers, and how to get things done. So they're putting in their expertise and their time. Meanwhile, the author comes and the author is providing the IP, the manuscript, as well as funding. So the author is paying or helping pay to get their book done. Now, depending on the publisher, some hybrid publishers will match what the author puts in as far as investment, and they are true partners. Sometimes the hybrid publisher says, nope, I'm putting in my skill, my time, and my platform, and you're going to pay for everything. And then what happens is, because they're your publisher, they do typically retain part of your royalties. Now, that royalty split I've seen, range. Sometimes it's 50-50, sometimes it's 60-40. I've seen 25-75. So that just depends on the individual publisher and how that works. But hybrid press and publishers sometimes do get this very bad reputation because they're lumped in with vanity press. And there's a very fine line between the two. With a vanity press, these people don't typically have a great reputation, a great amount of skill, and they're not necessarily partnering with you. A vanity press just charges outrageous amounts to publish your book. It's not typically a very good product, and they are just cranking these books out like crazy. A hybrid publisher, a true legitimate hybrid publisher, typically is going to really partner with you. They are going to be there. They're going to help you with marketing. They're going to be more of a partnership. Now, of course, they get paid for that because that's what they're doing. So it's important to know which ones are, as far as reputable and not. I will say that IBPA has a whole criteria of things you should look for in a hybrid publisher. And I'm going to drop that here. I think it's open to the public on there, but it's just IBPA online. So let me drop that link. And they kind of have, yes, they have a doc that has like all the things you should ask for. Now, I think it's just as important as trying to word this correctly. I think it's just as important when finding a hybrid publisher. I think it's important not only to find one that meets these criteria, but also to find one that synchronizes with your goals. Some hybrid publishers are fantastic partners for putting out a great product, but they do no marketing and they're not going to help you market. Some hybrid publishers do both publishing and marketing. Some have better distribution than others. So if your goal is bookstores and libraries or trying to make a list, then their distribution might be a better fit. So sometimes, now I will say there are a lot of scammers out there. There are a lot of scammers. There are a lot of people who are not doing what they say, who are charging astronomical fees to do what they do. But there are also a lot of hybrid publishers that charge fairly for the work and the service that they offer, and they are true partnerships. And so I think it's important to find the one that's right for you, because sometimes even great hybrid publishers get a bad reputation simply because what the author's goal and what they needed is not what that publisher offered. As I said, some hybrid publishers, and I hope they're upfront about it, say, hey, we don't really do marketing. We help you create and put up a beautiful product, but you'll need to go elsewhere for marketing. And here are the resources that we use, or here are places that you can go to. I know that New Shelves and Free Advice Friday is actually listed on a number of hybrid publishers, like marketing documents, as, hey, we don't do publishing, but here are some people who do. Here are some free resources. And so I think it is important to really ask those questions and to know yourself, what's your goal, what's important to you, so you know the right questions to ask to make sure that you're finding the right partnership. And I think that's just as important as finding someone that's not a scammer, because if your goals don't align, if this is a really small hybrid press that only does print on demand and they only do Amazon, but you were really hoping to go wide, or you're hoping to hit a list and have distribution for libraries and bookstores, and they don't offer that, it doesn't necessarily mean they're a terrible company. It means that it's not a good fit for you. So those are the things I kind of look for. And as far as good companies, bad companies, I don't typically throw out names. There are a lot of lists of places that you can check. I know that Writer Beware from Victoria Strauss does Writer Beware. And I will say that she has an extensive list on her website. If you go there and you search different companies, um, if they've got a bad rap, they're probably going to be on Victoria's website. So I'll drop that there. It's just writerbeware.blog. Excellent resource for vetting these things. And then also consider why you're doing hybrid. Are you doing hybrid because it's actually best for you? Do you, you know, why not self-publish? Is it because you don't have the time or the skills? I will say an option that a lot of people I work with go for is rather than hybrid publishing, they self-publish, but they self-publish with a consultant. Hey, your consultant. They self-publish with a consultant to make sure things are being done correctly, that they're done well and up to standard. So they, in the end, they are investing the money in their project, but they own everything. They get all the royalties, all the rights. But it's kind of, it's not hybrid publishing because you are self-publishing, but rather than investing in paying another company, you're paying to get those things set up in your own account and learning the process. For some people, that makes sense, especially if someone is going to be writing multiple books. For some people, they're like, hey, this is the one memoir I'm ever putting out. I don't want my own accounts. I don't want to have to look at royalties. I want to pay someone and be done with it. And that is when hybrid is an absolutely beautiful thing for you. Or if you want to have someone else's, again, distribution or things like that. So that can be important things to think about when you're thinking about the ways to publish. Best thing for hybrid publishers, another question to consider asking is whether they vet or screen the books they publish. If they'll publish all submitted manuscripts and they don't have a rigorous editorial team, I'd be suspicious of their quality. Yes, and oftentimes that is the difference between a hybrid and a vanity press. A vanity press will publish anyone with money. And I've seen some of their books, and I will tell you, I actually worked with an author who said, I was embarrassed of the book that we put out. So I want to publish my own book now that at least I'm not embarrassed to have out there. So I think it's one of those things. Yeah, absolutely. If you have more questions, you can always reach out to me, info@newshelves.com. I do consulting by the hour if you want to look at your project and see what might be best with you. Oftentimes, the best plan of attack is to create some strategy in the beginning. It can save you a lot of tears, I will say. Yes. Anyone with money. And when I say anyone, I do mean anyone. And they don't necessarily edit. They don't edit. They do a light proofread sometimes. So it's all about your goals, my friends. It's your goals and deciding where you want to put your time and your investment, I think is what it comes down to. All right. Well, it was another great Friday again. I'm sorry we got started late, but I still appreciate that you guys you stuck it out, you stayed with me, and I appreciate that. Next week, I am so excited that next week we will have Walt joining us, and Walt is going to talk to us about how he has built his social media presence specifically on Instagram and YouTube using videos with, a little bit of strategy and planning, but very little monetary investment. And he built up his Instagram. I think it was in less than a year, he built it up to over 10,000 followers, and he's just killing it, doing a lot of great things. So he's going to share some of his tips and tricks for making videos that go viral, for how to easily record and edit those videos, and just his strategies for building that platform without spending a ton of money and without driving yourself nuts. So we are so excited to have him here. And as far as Walt, let's see. If I was more prepared, I would have had his YouTube and everything up. I think it's all Walt. So let's see. Again, if I was more prepared, it would be fine. Am I more prepared? No, I have his Instagram. I'm going to drop his Instagram because it's all connected. So it's just author Walt. I'm going to say Musil, and that might be wrong, but I think I said it right. So I'm going to drop this in here. You guys can go peep on him before we get started. But he will be here next week just sharing with us. I've talked to him a little bit, and it's just amazing all the great things that he's done. I know he said he was, yeah, he said that he was walking his dog, so he may not be able to give us that YouTube link right now, but we'll have all of his links next week. And again, we're very excited to have Walt on the show, and we will be here next week. If you have questions specific to Instagram, YouTube, or just creating videos, um, bring them next week, email them in early so we have them. I did find the YouTube. It's all under his name. So I dropped it in here. So next week, we'll see you. We'll talk videos. We'll have a great time. Until then, have a wonderful weekend and a beautiful week.